Hi everybody, it's Janét Kniss from Lectin Free Solutions. It's almost Valentine's Day, and I don't know about you, but I always like to have a little special tray of chocolates made for Valentine's Day. And these, believe it or not, are really heart healthy, and they have no sugar and no saturated fat. So they are perfect for keto intensive ApoE4s, and I think you're really going to love them. The flavor does not suffer. All right, so first of all, we're going to have 4 different flavors. We're going to have plain, we're going to have a toasted millet flake, cocoa nibs, and orange. So first of all, we'll start off with 1.5 cups of homemade walnut butter. Now, if you don't want to make your own walnut butter, you can buy walnut butter. It's not a problem. So what I'll do is I'm going to start off with the 1.5 cups. To that, I'm going to add 1/3 cup of allulose. And on top of that, the allulose makes the nut butter keep a little bit better structure. When I make my nut butter, I generally use olive oil. You can use MCT oil, you can use avocado oil, you can use perilla oil. Use whatever oil that you particularly like. I'm so used to making it with olive oil, I just prefer it that way, but you certainly can use any of those oils that are not saturated. A plain coconut oil is really not advised, or butter. Okay, so we almost have that mixed in. Now I've got about 2 tablespoons of non-GMO allulose, and this will sweeten up the whole mixture. Takes a little bit of elbow grease. You want the nut butter to be as stiff as possible so that it holds its shape, because once we add the other flours, we're going to roll this into balls, and then we're going to dip them in chocolate. They're really, really good. I don't know if any of you grew up eating peanut butter balls, but they were a staple in our family around the holidays, and they were so delicious. They had a crunchy Rice Krispie in it, and they had butter and powdered sugar and all these things that I never eat anymore, and I know they're not good for me, so I don't eat. But this is a pretty close second, I have to say. And even though it's walnut butter and not peanut butter, they're delicious. I really think that you're going to like these. Now, what I'm going to do, since I've got those all mixed up, and you can see it's a pretty stiff mixture. It's holding itself together pretty well. So now what we're going to do is divide this into 3 individual portions. And they're going to be approximately 1/2 cup. There'll be a little bit more because we added the fiber and the allulose, but well, I'm just going to eyeball this. It's fine. It doesn't have to be precise. Not rocket science. Okay, we're almost there. Okay, so first of all, I think that we'll start out with the orange. Let me get that out of the way. Now on the stove, I have already started 2 boxes of baker's chocolate with about a 1/4 cup of olive oil, and I'm melting that over a double boiler really slowly. And once that's finished melting, then I'll add somewhere between 1/3 and 1/2 cup of non-GMO allulose, or use whatever sweetener you like, but start with a small amount and then add as you go, because you can always make it sweeter, but you can't take it out once it's in there. So that's what I advise. So what we're going to do with the first batch is we have some dehydrated orange zest that I made last year. This is off from my mom's trees, and there's about 1.5 teaspoons in here. I'm going to use most of it, save a little bit for the tops of the chocolates, so they get a little decoration, and it helps you identify which flavor you have there. Just like a regular box of chocolates. Kind of nice to be able to identify which one it is you're eating. This one doesn't require nearly as much because the flavor is very strong. The other thing you could do if you don't have dehydrated, you can, dehydrated orange, you can always zest fresh orange. That works really well. But I have this and it has great flavor. It's all organic. I know it is because I made it and we grew the oranges, so I'm going to take advantage of that. Okay, so that one is finished. Now we're going to go on to the second one, and this is cocoa nibs. So I have about I think it was a third. You know what? I'll have the exact measurements for you in the printed recipe. I think it's a third, but I don't want to swear to that. Okay, this is mixing up really nice. The cocoa nibs give you a really nice texture and nice crunch. I like that in the ball. And then you have that nice smooth chocolate coating on the outside. That was a fast one to mix up. That one's done. Another thing you can do if you want to add a little touch of vanilla to these, you certainly can do that. Now this one is the one that takes a little bit more work, and it's a little bit more expensive because I bought the millet flakes. And I think for a 1 pound bag, it was around $11, which is pretty high, but I wanted to try them. So I bought them, and they're like a very tiny, you can sort of see, they're like a tiny piece of oatmeal flake. But anyway, I toasted them in a dry frying pan, and they maintain a really nice crunch. So this is the one that's going to be most likely closest to the original peanut butter ball because it had Rice Krispies in it. That's why I was trying to go for something that was going to be very, very similar to that. And we're just going to work that all in. And then once we have all of these mixed up, what we'll do is we'll roll them into, about a half-inch ball, a little larger than a marble, but you don't want them too big because then they're very rich, and then the chocolates are just too large. So I'll show you what I have here in a minute. As soon as I get this one mixed up, we're just about ready to start that process. I actually made some up earlier this morning of the plain, and okay, that's all ready. So we've got already 3 different flavors all ready to go and be rolled up into balls. And now what I'm going to do is get the balls that I made this morning. I'll show you how I dip them in chocolate, and then we'll be ready to go. All right, everybody, I rolled all of the different varieties out. We've got the orange, the cocoa nib, and the crunchy millet flake. And then this tray I have here are plain. I made these really early this morning and got them in the freezer because they really do need to sit in for 5 or 6 hours so that they're hard enough to withstand the chocolate. So what we're going to do now is I just put one on a spoon and dip it down into the chocolate, roll it back and forth on the spoons, and I try to get it as thin as possible, but it's, you know, it has a mind of its own. Okay, so this is what was commonly referred to as the Buckeye because there was one little area that was not covered with chocolate. So you can either do that or not. It's up to you. So what we'll do is, what I wanted to remind you of is that since these are frozen, the chocolate sets up really fast. So what you want to do is if you're going to put a little topper for identification, then you need to do it right away because once that chocolate gets cold on the top, the little decorations won't stick. And since it's Valentine's Day, there are so many different flavors that you can use. You could actually use dehydrated strawberry, dehydrated raspberries, or you could just decorate with those little flavors. I did in the plain put a little bit of not virgin olive oil. I actually put a little bit of homemade vanilla in those. So I didn't put it in the rest, but I did in that one. So anyway, have fun, play with these. They're really delicious. Whoever you make them for is just going to be absolutely thrilled. Now what I do with these is I keep them in the freezer until I'm ready to serve them. And you can eat them right out of the freezer. They're pretty yummy. So anyway, have fun sharing them with the people you love, and I hope you have a great Valentine's Day. Let me know how they turned out for you. Thanks for all your support, and I look forward to chatting with you in the comments.